Night settled slowly over Northern Ireland, not arriving all at once, but easing its way into the land as if it had done this many times before and knew there was no need to hurry. The sky deepened into a soft navy blue, layered with clouds that drifted lazily, their edges blurred and gentle. They moved without purpose, without destination, simply passing over hills and fields that had long since grown quiet. The air carried a coolness that felt calm rather than sharp, touching the skin lightly and then fading, as if it did not wish to disturb anything. Somewhere far beyond the land, far beyond the darkened fields and stone walls, the Atlantic Ocean continued its steady breathing, waves rolling in and retreating again in a rhythm that never asked to be noticed. There was no sudden change from day to night here, only a gradual softening, a sense that everything was slowly settling into a deeper rest. You find yourself walking along a narrow coastal road, though there is no clear moment when you arrived. It feels as if you have always been here, moving at this unhurried pace, guided not by intention but by the quiet flow of the night itself. The road beneath your feet is slightly damp, holding onto the coolness of the evening, and each step feels steady and grounded, neither heavy nor light. Tall grass grows along both sides of the road, dark and full, bending gently as the wind passes through it. The sound it makes is subtle, almost blending into the background, a soft rustling that rises and falls without pattern. There is no need to listen closely, yet it is there, steady and reassuring. In the distance, small stone houses rest quietly across the landscape, their shapes softened by darkness. These houses have stood here for generations, built from stone pulled from the land itself, shaped by hands that moved slowly and carefully. A few windows glow faintly with warm yellow light, not bright enough to draw attention, just enough to suggest comfort and rest. You pass one house, then another, and there is no reason to count them or remember their order. Time here does not insist on being measured. As the road gently rises, you become aware of your breathing, slow and even, moving without effort. The air feels clean, carrying the faint scent of grass and sea, and with each breath, your body seems to settle a little more. At the crest of the hill, the land opens into a wide view of the coast, where the moonlight spreads across the water in soft, shifting patterns. The sea looks calm, almost still, its surface barely disturbed as waves move quietly beneath the light. It feels as though the water itself is resting, content to remain as it is. You pause here for a moment, or perhaps longer than a moment, letting the view exist without needing to name it. There is no decision to be made, no place you need to reach. When you continue, the road narrows into a path that curves gently toward the shore. A low stone wall runs alongside it, uneven and weathered, its surface shaped by countless years of wind and rain. If you reach out to touch it, the stone feels cool and solid beneath your fingers, grounding and familiar. This wall has stood through many nights like this one, through storms and quiet evenings alike, and it has never needed to move. The wind softens as you walk, easing into a slower rhythm, and the clouds above seem to grow heavier, settling deeper into the sky. Somewhere out at sea, a lighthouse turns, its beam of light sweeping slowly across the water before disappearing again. The light does not hurry, and it does not call for attention. It simply continues, steady and reliable. Your steps grow quieter as the ground becomes softer beneath you, the path absorbing sound and movement. In the distance, a single sheep calls out, low and calm, before the sound fades back into silence. The path leads toward a small cottage near the shore, built from stone and wood, its shape simple and unassuming. The windows are dark, the door closed, and there is no sense that anyone needs to be inside. The cottage stands quietly, existing for no other reason than to be where it is. A wooden bench rests near the entrance, smoothed by time and use, and if you choose to sit, it supports you without protest, creaking once before settling into stillness again. Your body relaxes naturally, shoulders lowering, hands resting easily. The sound of the sea feels closer now, steady and rhythmic, and above you, stars scatter faintly across the sky, some hidden behind drifting clouds. You do not need to see them clearly to know they are there. The night continues to deepen, calm and unchanging, holding everything gently in place. The cottage remains quiet as you sit there, or simply stand nearby, allowing the night to move at its own pace. Nothing asks for your attention. The sea continues its steady rhythm, waves arriving and leaving with the same calm consistency. The air feels slightly cooler now, brushing gently against your skin, carrying with it the faint scent of salt and damp earth. Somewhere nearby, grass shifts softly as the wind moves through it, bending without resistance and then slowly returning to rest. The small lamp near the cottage casts its warm light onto the ground, creating a gentle pool of brightness that feels contained and safe. You do not need to step into the light unless you want to. Remaining just outside, it feels equally comfortable. Time stretches here, becoming less defined, less structured. Moments no longer separate themselves clearly from one another. They blend, softening at the edges, becoming something easier to rest within. Your breathing remains slow and natural, each breath flowing into the next without effort. If your thoughts drift, there is no need to follow them. They can come and go, much like the clouds above, passing quietly without leaving a trace. The cottage stands patiently beside you, its stone walls holding the coolness of the night. These stones have absorbed countless evenings like this one, nights filled with wind and sea air, nights where nothing needed to happen. Inside, though you do not need to imagine it clearly, the space is simple and calm. A small table, perhaps a chair near the wall, wooden floors that have softened with age. Everything inside exists in quiet balance, arranged not for display, but for comfort. The door remains closed, but there is no sense of separation. Whether inside or out, the feeling is the same, safe, still, unhurried. The wind shifts slightly, changing direction without warning, and for a moment it carries the distant sound of water moving over rocks. The sound fades gently, replaced again by the steady breathing of the sea. Farther out, beyond what you can see, the lighthouse continues its slow turning, light appearing briefly before slipping away again. Its rhythm remains unchanged, dependable and calm. You may notice how your body feels heavier now, more settled, as if gravity itself has softened. Muscles loosen without instruction. Your posture adjusts naturally, finding the most comfortable way to rest. There is nothing you need to hold on to. The night supports everything effortlessly. The sky above seems deeper now, darker, though still layered with clouds that move at their own pace. Occasionally, a star peeks through a thin break, then disappears again as a cloud drifts past. There is no need for the sky to remain clear. The movement feels gentle, reassuring. Somewhere farther inland, beyond the hills, fields lie quiet and undisturbed. Stone walls trace old boundaries across the land, dividing nothing in particular, simply following the shape of the earth. These walls have been here for generations, resting in the same places, absorbing sunlight by day and releasing coolness by night. They ask nothing of the land they sit upon. Your awareness may begin to soften now, no longer fixed on any one thing. Sounds blend together, forming a quiet background hum that feels steady and even. The sea, the wind, the distant night air all become part of the same gentle atmosphere. If you are still sitting on the bench, you might notice how solid it feels beneath you, how it supports your weight without movement. If you are standing, your feet feel firmly connected to the ground, balanced and relaxed. There is no need to shift or adjust unless it feels natural. Everything is already arranged in a way that works. The lamp's light remains constant, neither brightening nor fading, simply existing. Shadows stretch softly around the cottage and along the path, their edges blurred and calm. Nothing hides within them. They are simply darker places where the light does not reach. The path leading away from the cottage curves gently, disappearing into the night, but there is no pull to follow it. It will remain there whether you walk it or not. The night does not require movement. It is content with stillness. Your breathing continues, slow and even. Each breath a quiet reminder that there is nothing else you need to do. The air enters, the air leaves, that is enough. Thoughts may become less defined now, more like impressions than words. Images may appear briefly, then fade before taking shape. This is natural. There is no need to hold on to them. The sea continues to move, wave after wave arriving and retreating in an endless, gentle cycle. The land remains still beneath the sky. The cottage stands quietly beside you. Everything remains exactly where it belongs. The night deepens further, not by changing, but by becoming more itself. Calm settles into every corner of the landscape, into the grass, the stone, the water, and into you. Nothing needs to change, nothing needs to happen. The night simply continues, holding everything softly in place. The night remains settled around the cottage, holding its quiet shape without effort. If you choose to move now, it happens slowly, naturally, without any clear decision. Perhaps you stand from the bench, or perhaps you simply notice that you are already standing. The movement feels light, unremarkable, as if your body knows exactly what to do without needing instruction. The wooden bench stays where it is, accepting the change without sound, returning immediately to stillness. The lamp continues to glow softly beside the door, its light unchanged, resting gently on the ground. As you step closer to the cottage, the stone walls appear more clearly, their surfaces uneven and textured, shaped by time rather than design. Each stone fits where it belongs, held in place not by force but by patience. The door feels solid beneath your hand if you choose to touch it, cool and steady, familiar in a way that does not require memory. When the door opens, it does so quietly, without resistance, as if it has been opened many times before and remembers how to move gently. Inside, the air is calm and still, carrying the faint scent of wood and stone. The space is simple, unadorned, free from clutter or sharp edges. A small table rests near one wall, its surface smooth from years of use. A chair stands nearby, positioned not with intention, but with ease, as if it found its place naturally. The floorboards beneath your feet feel firm and quiet, supporting each step without sound. The door closes softly behind you, and the night remains just outside, close enough to be felt, but not intrusive. The lamp's light follows you inside, spreading gently across the room, revealing shadows that remain soft and indistinct. Nothing here demands attention, nothing stands out. Everything simply exists in balance. You may choose to sit now, perhaps on the chair, perhaps somewhere else that feels comfortable. Wherever you rest, your body settles easily, shoulders releasing, arms resting without tension. The quiet inside the cottage feels deeper, thicker somehow, as if sound itself has slowed. Outside, the sea continues its steady movement, but here it feels distant, muted, like a memory rather than a presence. The walls hold the night at bay without shutting it out completely. You can still sense the wind moving across the land, still feel the quiet rhythm of the coast. The lamp remains steady, its light warm and contained, creating a sense of gentle enclosure. Time becomes even less distinct here. There is no sense of how long you have been inside, and no reason to know. Minutes drift past unnoticed, blending into one another. Your breathing continues at its own pace, slow and even, rising and falling without effort. Each breath feels complete, requiring nothing more. Thoughts begin to soften further now, losing their sharpness, their urgency. They may appear briefly, then dissolve before forming into words. This fading feels natural, expected, as if the mind itself is learning to rest. The cottage holds this stillness easily. It has known many quiet nights, many moments like this one, and it knows how to remain calm. Somewhere beyond the walls, clouds continue to move slowly across the sky, their shapes changing without consequence. The lighthouse continues its turning far out at sea, its light sweeping across the water and then disappearing again. These things continue whether you notice them or not. Inside, the wooden surfaces hold warmth gently, neither cool nor warm, simply comfortable. The chair supports your weight without shift or sound. The floor remains solid beneath you. Everything here feels stable, dependable. If you close your eyes now, the space does not disappear. It remains present, holding its shape even without being seen. The sounds of the night blend into a soft background hum, barely distinguishable from silence. The sea, the wind, the distant land all become part of the same quiet atmosphere. Your awareness begins to drift inward, no longer anchored to the room or the night beyond it. Sensations soften, edges blur. The feeling of your body becomes heavier, more settled, as if gravity itself has become kinder. Muscles release without instruction, one after another, letting go of effort that is no longer needed. The lamp's light may feel dimmer now, though it has not changed. It is simply less important. Shadows deepen not with darkness but with calm. Nothing hides within them. They are simply places where the light rests less. The cottage feels safe, enclosed, steady. It does not move or shift. It does not ask for attention. It simply remains. Your breathing continues, slow and unforced, each breath flowing into the next. There is no pause that feels too long, no breath that feels incomplete. Everything happens exactly as it should, without direction or control. The night outside remains calm, Northern Ireland resting quietly beneath the sky. Fields lie undisturbed. Stone walls trace gentle lines across the land. The sea continues its endless, patient rhythm. Inside the cottage, stillness deepens further. Thoughts become fewer now, more distant. Awareness softens into a gentle presence, neither focused nor drifting completely away. There is no need to follow anything from here. The story is no longer moving forward. It is simply resting, allowing the night to continue in its own time. Nothing needs to change. Nothing needs to happen. Everything remains quiet, steady, and at ease, held gently within the calm of the night. The cottage remains exactly as it is, unchanged and unbothered by time. Inside, the quiet has settled into a deeper stillness, one that feels thick and gentle, wrapping around everything without pressure. If your eyes are closed, there is no need to open them. If they are open, there is nothing in particular to notice. The room holds its shape either way. The lamp continues to glow softly, its light steady and warm, though it no longer feels important to focus on. It is simply there, like everything else, existing without effort. Your body feels heavier now, not in an uncomfortable way, but in a way that feels supported. Muscles remain loose, relaxed, with no reason to tighten again. The chair beneath you stays solid and still, offering quiet support without movement. Your breathing continues in its slow, natural rhythm, in and out. Each breath blends into the next, with no clear beginning and no clear end. Outside the cottage, the night remains calm. The sea continues its gentle movement, waves arriving and retreating in the same unhurried pattern. The sound is distant now, softened by walls and space, blending easily into the background. The wind still moves across the land, passing over grass and stone without resistance, but here inside it feels far away, like something remembered rather than heard. The lighthouse continues its slow turning somewhere beyond sight, its light appearing and disappearing without needing to be acknowledged. Clouds drift across the sky, their shapes changing so gradually that there is no clear moment of difference. Nothing outside asks for attention, and nothing inside does either. Time has lost its structure here. Minutes no longer separate themselves from one another. They stretch and soften, becoming something less defined, something easier to rest within. Your thoughts reflect this change, slowing, loosening, becoming fewer and less distinct. They may appear briefly, like faint impressions, then fade before forming into words. This fading feels natural, expected. The cottage has known many nights like this one. It knows how to hold stillness without effort. The stone walls remain cool and steady, the wooden floor quiet beneath you. The air inside feels balanced, neither warm nor cold, simply comfortable. Each breath you take feels complete, requiring nothing more. Awareness begins to soften even further now, drifting gently without direction. Sensations blur at the edges. The feeling of where your body ends and the room becomes less clear, less important. There is no need to define these boundaries anymore. Everything feels connected, held within the same calm space. The lamp's light may seem dimmer or farther away, though it has not changed. It is simply less relevant now, like a detail that no longer needs attention. Shadows remain soft and indistinct, resting quietly along the walls. Nothing moves suddenly, nothing interrupts. Outside, the land remains settled. Fields lie dark and undisturbed. Stone walls trace their familiar paths across the hills. The sea continues its endless rhythm, wave after wave following the same gentle pattern. Inside, the cottage remains unchanged. The chair supports you, the floor holds steady, the air remains calm, your breathing continues, slow and even, rising and falling without thought. Each breath feels slightly deeper, slightly heavier, as if the body is sinking naturally into rest. There is no effort involved. It happens on its own. Thoughts have become rare now, appearing only briefly before dissolving into the quiet. Awareness feels distant, soft, as if it has moved slightly farther away from the surface of things. The story no longer feels like something to listen to. It has become part of the background, blending with the night, the sea, the wind. The cottage feels less like a place and more like a sensation, a sense of safety and stillness rather than a defined space. Time continues to pass, but without markers. There is no sense of how long you have been here and no need to know. Everything that needs to happen is already happening. The night does not change. It deepens only by remaining calm. Northern Ireland rests quietly beneath the sky, the land and sea held in gentle balance. Inside the cottage, stillness settles even further, becoming almost complete. Breathing continues. The body remains relaxed. Awareness drifts softly with no direction and no destination. Nothing needs to change. Nothing needs to happen. Everything is already resting exactly as it should. The quiet inside the cottage remains undisturbed, holding its gentle shape without effort. Nothing has shifted. Nothing needs to. The air feels still and settled, as if it has found the exact balance it was always meant to hold. Your body continues to rest where it is, supported fully, without any need to adjust or move. The chair remains steady beneath you, the floor solid and calm, the walls unchanged. Your breathing continues its slow, natural rhythm, in and out, smooth and unforced, each breath flowing easily into the next. There is no pause that feels too long, no breath that feels incomplete. Everything arrives and leaves exactly as it should. The lamp's soft glow remains present, though it may feel distant now, less defined, like something seen through closed eyes. Its light does not demand attention. It simply exists, warm and constant. Shadows rest quietly along the walls, their edges blurred and gentle, never sharp. Outside, the night continues without interruption. The sea moves in its familiar rhythm, wave after wave arriving and retreating with the same calm consistency. The sound is faint now, softened by distance and stillness, blending easily into the background. The wind continues to pass across the land, but here it is only a suggestion, a memory of movement rather than a sound. Far out beyond sight, the lighthouse keeps turning, its light appearing and disappearing in a slow, dependable pattern. This rhythm does not change, it does not need to. Time has softened completely now. Moments no longer feel separate. They blend into one another, forming a continuous, gentle flow. Your awareness drifts within this flow without resistance. Thoughts are rare, and when they appear, they dissolve almost immediately, leaving no trace behind. There is no need to follow them. They pass on their own. Sensations continue to fade at the edges. The feeling of your body grows heavier, more settled, as if it is slowly sinking into rest. Muscles remain loose and relaxed, with no impulse to tighten again. The boundary between the room and your awareness becomes less clear, less important. Everything feels held within the same quiet space. The cottage itself feels less like a structure and more like a presence, steady and calm, offering shelter without effort. It has held many nights like this one, and it knows how to remain still. The stone walls continue to hold the coolness of the night. The wooden floor remains quiet beneath you. The air stays balanced and gentle. Outside, fields lie undisturbed beneath the darkened sky. Stone walls trace their familiar lines across the land, unchanged and patient. Clouds drift slowly overhead, their movement so gradual it is barely noticeable. The sky holds its deep color without variation. Inside, nothing draws attention, nothing interrupts. Your breathing remains slow and even, each breath slightly deeper than the last, though you do not need to notice this. It happens naturally, without instruction. Awareness continues to soften, drifting farther from the surface of things. The story no longer feels like something you are listening to. It feels distant now, almost irrelevant, blending seamlessly with the quiet of the night. The sea, the wind, the land, the cottage all exist together in the same calm state. There is no direction here, no progression, everything remains as it is. Time continues to pass, but it has lost its meaning. There is no need to know how much has passed or how much will pass. The night holds everything gently without expectation. Northern Ireland rests quietly beneath the sky, unchanged and unchanging. Inside the cottage, stillness deepens further, becoming nearly complete. Breathing continues. The body rests. Awareness drifts softly, without effort, without destination. Nothing needs to change, nothing needs to happen. Everything is already resting exactly where it belongs, held quietly within the calm of the night. Everything remains settled within the cottage, unchanged and steady. The quiet has fully arrived now, not as an absence of sound, but as a gentle presence that fills the space without effort. The air feels calm and balanced, resting lightly around you. Your body continues to rest exactly where it is, supported and still, with no need to shift or adjust. The chair remains solid beneath you, unmoving, reliable. The floor holds firm. The walls remain steady. Your breathing continues in its slow, even rhythm, in and out, smooth and natural, each breath flowing into the next without pause or strain. There is nothing you need to control. The breath knows how to move on its own. The lamp's soft glow remains, though it may feel very distant now, almost indistinguishable from the darkness around it. The light has not changed, only your need to notice it has faded. Shadows rest quietly along the walls and corners, their edges soft and undefined, never sharp, never demanding attention. Outside, the night continues in the same gentle way. The sea moves as it always has, wave after wave arriving and retreating in a slow, predictable rhythm. The sound is faint, barely noticeable now, blending seamlessly into the background of the night. The wind continues to pass over the land, but here it is only a suggestion, a memory of movement rather than a sound or sensation. Far out beyond sight, the lighthouse continues its slow turning, its light appearing briefly, then disappearing again, then returning over and over, unchanged. This rhythm remains constant, dependable, calm. Time feels almost completely dissolved now. Moments no longer stand apart. They melt into one another, forming a continuous, unbroken flow. Your awareness drifts within this flow without resistance, without direction. Thoughts are nearly absent now, and if one does appear, it fades almost immediately, dissolving before it can take shape. There is no need to follow anything. Nothing requires attention. Sensations continue to soften and blur. The feeling of your body grows heavier, more settled, as if it is gently sinking into rest. Muscles remain loose and relaxed, with no impulse to tighten again. The boundary between your body and the space around you becomes faint, almost unnoticeable. Everything feels held within the same calm stillness. The cottage no longer feels like a place you are inside. It feels like part of the same quiet state you are resting in. The stone walls, the wooden floor, the air itself all share the same gentle calm. Outside, fields remain dark and undisturbed. Stone walls continue to trace their familiar lines across the land. Clouds drift slowly across the sky, their movement so gradual it barely registers. The sky holds its deep, even color without change. Inside, nothing shifts, nothing interrupts. Your breathing remains slow and even, each breath deepening naturally, without effort. Awareness continues to drift farther from the surface of things, becoming softer, quieter, more distant. The story feels very far away now, no longer something to listen to, only a faint presence blending with the night. The sea, the wind, the land. The cottage all remain exactly as they are. There is no progression here, no beginning, no end. Time continues to pass, but it has lost all meaning. There is no need to know how much has passed or how much remains. The night holds everything gently without expectation. Northern Ireland rests quietly beneath the sky, unchanged and unchanging. Inside the cottage, stillness settles into its deepest form. Breathing continues. The body rests fully. Awareness drifts softly, effortlessly, without destination. Nothing needs to change. Nothing needs to happen. Everything is already resting exactly as it is, exactly where it belongs, held quietly within the calm of the night. Nothing has changed, and nothing needs to change. The quiet remains complete and unbroken, resting gently within the cottage and extending far beyond it, across the land and out to the sea. The air feels soft and settled, holding everything in place without pressure. Your body remains at rest, fully supported, heavy in a comfortable way, as if it has found the exact position it was always meant to find. There is no reason to move. There is no reason to think about moving. The chair beneath you stays solid and still. The floor remains steady. The walls remain unmoving. Everything holds its place naturally. Your breathing continues in its slow, even rhythm, rising and falling without effort. In and out, smooth and quiet. Each breath flows into the next, and there is no clear separation between them. Breathing happens on its own. You do not need to guide it. The lamp's light remains present somewhere nearby, though it feels very distant now, barely distinguishable from the surrounding darkness. It has not dimmed or brightened. It simply exists quietly without asking to be noticed. Shadows remain soft and blurred, resting peacefully along the edges of the room. They do not shift suddenly. They do not hide anything. They simply rest. Outside, the night continues exactly as it has been. The sea moves in its familiar rhythm, wave after wave arriving and retreating in a slow, steady pattern. The sound is faint, almost merging with silence. The wind continues to move across the land, though here it is only a suggestion, a distant presence that no longer needs attention. Far beyond sight, the lighthouse continues its slow turning. light appears, light disappears, light returns. The pattern repeats without change. Time has almost completely faded now. Moments no longer feel separate. There is no sense of before or after. Everything feels like a single, continuous state of calm. Awareness drifts gently within this state, without direction, without focus. Thoughts have become extremely rare. If one does appear, it dissolves immediately, leaving nothing behind. There is no need to follow anything anymore. Sensations soften further, becoming less distinct. The feeling of your body grows heavier and more distant, as if it is sinking gently into rest. Muscles remain loose, relaxed, fully released. There is no tension to return. The boundary between your body and the space around you becomes almost invisible. Everything feels connected, held together within the same quiet stillness. The cottage itself feels like part of this stillness rather than a separate place. Stone, wood, air, and silence all share the same calm presence. Outside, the land remains undisturbed. Fields lie dark and quiet. Stone walls trace their familiar paths across the hills, unchanged and patient. Clouds drift slowly across the sky, their movement so gradual it is barely noticed. The sky holds its deep, even color without variation. Inside, nothing shifts, nothing interrupts. Your breathing continues, slow and even, each breath gently deepening, without effort or awareness. The story has faded almost completely now. It is no longer something to listen to. It has blended entirely into the quiet of the night. The sea, the wind, the land, the cottage, and your awareness all exist together in the same calm state. There is no progression here, no direction, no destination. Time continues to pass, but it no longer matters. The night holds everything gently, without expectation. Northern Ireland rests quietly beneath the sky, unchanged and unchanging. Inside the cottage, stillness reaches its deepest point. Breathing continues. The body rests fully. Awareness drifts softly, effortlessly, without form or destination. Nothing needs to change. Nothing needs to happen. Everything is already resting completely and fully, exactly as it is, exactly where it belongs. Everything is still. Everything remains. The quiet has settled fully, not arriving, not leaving, simply being. The air rests gently around you, unchanged and calm. Your body remains at rest, supported completely, heavy in the most comfortable way, as if it has let go of all effort. There is no need to move. There is no thought of moving. The chair stays steady. The floor remains firm. The walls remain where they are. Nothing shifts. Nothing needs to. Your breathing continues in its slow, even rhythm, in and out, smooth and unbroken. Each breath flows naturally into the next, without pause, without awareness. Breathing happens on its own, quietly, reliably. The lamp's light exists somewhere nearby, faint and distant, neither bright nor dim, simply present. It does not change, it does not fade, it rests just as everything else rests. Shadows remain soft and gentle, their edges blurred, unmoving, peaceful. They do not draw attention, they do not conceal anything. They simply are. Outside, the night continues exactly as it has been. The sea moves in its endless, familiar rhythm. Waves arrive, waves leave. The pattern repeats, unchanged, calm. The sound is barely there now, merging fully with silence. The wind continues across the land, but it is only a distant idea, no longer a sensation. Far beyond sight, the lighthouse turns. Light appears, light disappears, light returns.